9, containment of fire. We have already seen that our basic purpose is to contain fire in the space of origin. What we say, locate, control, detect, control and extinguish fire in the space of origin. Now for that we have got other arrangements, and here what we do, regulation 9 tells you ships shall be subdivided at thermal and structural boundaries. Very nice. In simple words, what we are creating? We are creating a ship in terms of boxes. There are all boxes are attached to each other to make a ship, and one box to other is one opening somewhere or the other. That may be door, that can be something else, watertight door, it may be feather-tight door, or it can be some other method. But in the end, what you have got a ship. Ship is made up of small boxes joined together, and every box has got own identity when it comes to uh, talking about fire. That is the compartment. Now, thermal and structural boundaries means horizontal, vertical, all the sides become like boundaries, the top and bottom. Now, when you say thermal boundaries, how much should be the level of that thermal capacity? That shall be generally according to the whatever is the judgment about that particular space. Different compartments may need a different type of boundary. Somebody might need thicker, somebody might need thinner, but one way or the other we are going to take the risk. Means we do some sort of a risk assessment and then do it. Fire integrity of the division shall be maintained at openings and penetrations. That means like two boxes are joined, right? So there is an opening in this. Opening has to be created. This opening also must maintain fire integrity. That means it has to have also the same characteristic of class 8 bulkhead, because all of them we are talking is the class A60 bulkheads. So A60, it should also, the door also should be like that. That means it is not that door will give away when there is a fire. No, door must maintain its integrity to ensure that nothing will give away from the whole bulkhead. Openings and penetration, whichever both ways. Then this subdivision, now this chapter goes quite deep further down. So I have truncated it here because then it is talking only variety of technical language, which if you have interest you can go to the SOLAS and read it further. But at this stage it is not required. It is more your requirements will come second mate's time, more I think mate's master's time. But this is more engineering stuff here, technicalities. Okay, so that finishes regulation 9 for your purpose. Then we move it to regulation number 10. This is the bigger one and probably one of the most important ones. Again, because this one, the regulation 10 also gets covered up under FSS also a lot, because it is dealing with equipment and all. So, firefighting. Purpose of regulate, suppress and swiftly extinguish a fire in the space of origin. You see, the suppressing fire is what we have been talking, but how quickly? Suppressing, हाँ कर रहा हूँ, one can keep on saying, no, you are talking another word here, swiftly. Means quickly you want to extinguish the fire in the space of origin, because the longer time you allow, fire is likely to go out of control, because you can't be just controlling and saying that मैं खेल रहा था. You can't. So it has to be swift. For that, what do you get? A fixed firefighting system, fire extinguishing system will be installed, and fire extinguishing appliances shall be readily available. Now this is talking about fixed fire extinguishing system, and this talks about everything that includes this. That includes fixed fire extinguishing system, but all other things like let's say your fire extinguishers, छोटे portable ones. They all should be readily available. Fire blankets, etc., etc. All the chota cheese, mobile stuff. Now, what systems are generally provided? Fixed firefighting systems. One is a water supply system. Water supply system means what? Pipelines. Then pipelines will have hydrants. Now, when we use word hydrant, hydrant is nothing but an opening in the pipe, and it has got a closing arrangement, that is the valve. So that is hydrant. We maintain this word hydrant in the solas as well as our references in shipping. Somebody else may not use word hydrant ashore. Possible they may not use word hydrant, but we use word hydrant for the opening which is there, and along with a valve. Every hydrant has got a valve to close it. So hydrant is that opening. Now we said that okay, we should have pipeline and hydrants. Perfectly fine. What should be the material? Material should be such that it is not going to melt there, or it should be strong enough to withstand the pressure. So looking at it, it is the same steel, and it may have a specific grade of steel. Then the they are placed in such a way that you should be able to couple the hoses. Now it happens sometimes, and especially when you see it ashore, where people really don't have much of sense at times about fire. They will fix up a hydrant in such a way that गाड़ी हटानी है, कोई नहीं है. अच्छा, just give me a break. Okay, 5 minutes break. Huh? Sorry, just give me 5 minutes break. उसको नहीं जमता वो बूढ़े को, उसको कहता मेरे से नहीं हो रहा.
Hello, people.
Okay. Can you see me? Somebody say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Sorry. What happened is some water tanker has come and one of the tempo was there, so I had to move it. Otherwise, water tanker couldn't go. And everybody has got driving license, but unfortunately, I'm the only one who can drive. Okay. Now, getting back to this, the pipelines, hydrants will be there, made out of metal, strong, which can withstand the temperatures when there is fire. And then hydrants are placed in such a way that you can connect it. Now, this problem I have seen ashore. Hydrants are placed in such a way that you cannot connect the fire hose. This is not abnormal ashore, but on ships we are very particular on every small point. Then there is also a drainage arrangement provided on the pipelines to drain out water when the temperatures fall below freezing points. That is for that abnormal expansion of water below 4 degrees. So we consider freezing also. Then there will be isolation valves on pipeline to separate the damaged part of the pipeline. Now pipeline may be damaged with structural damage. It happens. There is a collision and fire. In collision, certain pipelines got damaged. So what you will say, now fire, how do we fight? Because you will not have water. So there are isolation valves are provided to isolate that section of pipeline which has got damage, and rest of the pipeline you will get the water to fight fire. Similarly, remember always one thing, the isolation valves are always on deck. You can even isolate machinery space. You can isolate machinery space by closing valves, because sometimes it happens there is a bad damage, you need water in engine room and they can't start pump because outside it is leaking, there is a bad damage. So this way isolation valves give you that freedom of isolating damaged areas. The hydrants are provided at right locations, but there are some more things where they are provided, that we will come down and we will see it. In principle, always remember each and every part of the ship is accessible. Okay, in principle, that is for construction wise. That means you can touch each and every part of the ship. Some places you may have to use the ladders, anything, that's okay, but you can touch it. No part is inaccessible. Similarly, here you have got arrangement in hydrants are placed in such a way that now this 1000 GT and less than 1000 GT etc., keep it aside for time being. At least one effective jet of water is immediately available from any hydrant to reach any part, plus another one hydrant will come in picture where you connect two lengths of the hoses. Two lengths of the hoses connected in series, connected to the hydrant, and between these two, the two jets will reach any part of the ship. This is how we have got arrangement of the hydrants. Then fire pumps can be started from remote location. That remote location is protected. All the remote locations are protected by class A60 bulkheads. Always, whether it's starting of fire pumps or quick closing valves or starting of emergency fire pump, everything can be unmanned ship specifically. Unmanned ship, everything can be done from the bridge. Anyway, I don't see you are going to see manned ship anyway, but it can be done from the bridge. You just press the button, you start. Then pipelines are designed that you can use them with two fire pumps simultaneously. Two fire pumps pressurize the pipeline. It's not necessarily one, two pumps can be used, but total rate you should have at least 140 cubic meters per hour. 140 cubic meters per hour minimum. You can have higher than that, no problems. Now, when we said now you can put two pumps and all, and suppose you are fighting with two fire hoses, and then you need to change one hose. Why? Because you have pushed the fire further down and you have to approach the fire more. So you have to advance. Now that time the issue will come. How will you advance? You will have to obviously disconnect the hose and connect it to another hydrant so that you can move ahead. That time there will be hydraulic surges. Why? Because you close the valve. How will you remove the coupling? So you close the valve. Close the valve means the pressure increases. It can give the jerk. Now what happens? You don't want pressure to increase beyond tolerance level of the pipeline. So you have got something called relief valve, pressure release valves. Now these pressure release valves are always on deck. Okay, always on deck. So isolating valves are to isolate. Pressure release valves are there. In case the pressure goes beyond tolerance level, it lifts up and releases the pressure. The spring loaded thing. Okay, so when you go on a ship, you also mark where it is. You will generally find it just outside the accommodation, and it will be in the corner because that water gets to drain out also, no? So it is on the pipeline. And then additionally, something which is not mentioned here is you also have got expansion joints on the pipelines. The reason for expansion joints is because when ship is moving at the seaway, okay, you have learned about hogging and sagging, right? So ship does like this sort of thing. Now it is not going to be like this hand, like my hand is showing the wavy movement, but ship will have it. Maybe mild one, but it will have it. Now that time the pipelines which are technically on extreme ends, no? Either bottom of the ship or on top. So they are extreme ends of the what you say channel, or what is the other word? Sorry, it what we say is a cross section of a tubing, like rectangular tubing, and that is the ship. So this on extreme ends, so the it is more noticeable on extreme ends. So that is why you also have expansion joints. So this one coming down again to this, the relief valves, isolating valves, all are on deck, outside machinery space. Okay, this is important, outside machinery space. Then, like I told you, the hydrant, there is a valve fitted, otherwise how will you close the hydrants? Now on ships, each and every hydrant will have valve. And when you say take pipelines and all, the many pipelines which are used ashore, they have opening but they don't have valves. Why? Because it is expected you start the pump and it has to be open. So they don't fix the valve, they save the money. On ships, every hydrant will have a valve and a coupling. Relief valve we have seen, and isolation valves on tankers will be placed not more than 40 meters from each other. So every 40 meters you will have isolation valves, and they have got a ring type of system. That means if one is coming here and one is the other end of the ship, this side is damaged, these two valves are closed, the other side water is coming, so it will return back and come to this side. Now positioning, that I told you earlier, that two jets of water not emanating from same hydrant, one from single length of hose, other one two lengths of the hose, shall reach any part of the ship normally accessible to passengers or crew. And for crew, each and every part is accessible. Okay. In addition, now there are more things on passenger ships. Okay. The reason being, Even the alarm systems are such that detection, I told you earlier that there is a delay provided on purpose, because a false alarm can trigger a massive panic and there can be stampede. So passenger ships, there are a lot more things which are not, because that way you can keep on reading and reading. I am marking only the important ones for you. Pressure of hydrant is sufficient to get everything right, but at the same time it cannot exceed certain maximum where you cannot hold the hose, because you have done the firefighting course. One man holds the nozzle and he can direct it, other man takes the load of the hose, and the third man is at hydrant. So these two guys are holding the hose. Now if there is excessive pressure, they will not be able to operate the hose. So the maximum pressure has to be a sufficient amount to give the water, but not enough that not too much that people cannot handle the hose. Also another thing which we will come down, pressure at the hydrants will come down, is the pipeline which is made out of steel can withstand the pressure, but similarly fire hose also must withstand the same pressure. It should not burst because I close the valve at the nozzle end, so it should not burst. That is the whole thing. So you see every small point is covered up, so nothing should go wrong. Okay, this maximum pressure at any hydrant shall not exceed at which the effective control of fire hose can be demonstrated. That is what I said earlier. Now we come to international shore connection. Minimum one, generally you will find at least two. Then fire pumps. Any pump can be accepted as fire pump provided it can provide the water all over the ship through the pipeline and maintain minimum pressure, what is required. Now pressure will be defined according to ship, gets too technical. So sufficient pressure where the two hoses can reach any point, two jets of the hoses can reach any point. So that sort of pressure it should produce. Now most of the pumps on ships can be used for firefighting. Most of the pumps. There is no issue about which pump. Most of the pumps, and same pump can also be used as bilge pumps. Means there are very few pumps which cannot be used. Majority of pumps can do the dual job, and the reason has been like you don't want ship to sink. At the same time, you don't want ship to burn either. So whatever is there is just question of pipelines, no? So that is why the marine engineers need to know pipelines very well in engine room, because the connectivity is provided to a circuit of pipelines from pump. So you have to know which valve should be closed, which should be open, so water goes here, not there. Now another one is important part. Always remember that the number of fire pumps, minimum number, is defined according to ship size. But more than 4000 GT on a passenger ship, you must have at least 3. Even though most of the pumps can be certified that they can supply the water. Cargo ships at least 2. You always have more than that. Then controls, especially on the ships where once upon a time, sometimes you will get this confusing thing from elderly seafarer, that they actually think that you have to go and open the valves and start the pump. No, that was over long ago, because your time is extremely critical when there is fire. You cannot have, because generally you will know almost 10 minutes after the fire has started you are in action. After that, if you are going to take another 10 minutes to get the water, fire will go out of control. So what happens is there is a remote arrangement, and then again that first part we saw, always readily available 24/7. Just press the button, pump starts, and within a few seconds water will be there at the hydrant. Few seconds, I am not going to say even minutes, because it happens ashore very often they don't realize that amount of water that is required to fill up the pipeline, and then there are issues that it needs 10 minutes to fill up the pipeline, only after 10 minutes you will get water. So that is not acceptable. Emergency fire pump. Once upon a time it used to be diesel driven, and even though it is still mentioned here that you can have a diesel driven power emergency fire pump with a capacity of 25 cubic meters or something. Ships generally have a fire pump which is operated by emergency generator, means emergency power source, and that is also just press button, it starts. Most important thing to remember is all other fire pumps are in machinery space except emergency fire pump. Emergency fire pump is never ever in machinery space. That's most important thing. Another one is emergency generator is also never ever in machinery space. They are separated by one full compartment. That means from machinery space you cannot enter directly to any one of these two. And not only that, their ventilations are also such that if there is a smoke emitting from machinery space, it will not go in this emergency fire pump room or emergency generator room. The even ventilation is isolated in such a way. Of course, it's a separate ventilation, but the ventilator should not suck the smoke which is coming from machinery space, because in that case your emergency thing goes out of control. Why you can't enter? It's full of smoke. Then, like this part is not contiguous boundaries of machinery space. There is even a separation by compartment. No direct access permitted between machinery space and space containing emergency fire pump and its source of power. Source of power is added because if you have got a diesel driven pump. Now, ventilation arrangement which I mentioned just now is this. Shall be as far as practical, possible smoke machinery space will not enter, drawn in the space. Okay. Then remember another part. Fire pumps we have seen, it should have so much of capacity, etc., etc. 180 180 no 160 कितना था इधर में था. You are supposed to remember this, brothers. 140. Okay. Now we saw at least that minimum should be there. Now you are assuming whatever it is, your bilge pumping capacity is much higher. The water supply capacity is only 2/3 of what is your bilge pumping capacity, because that way there is no way you can create flooding situation on ship, because you know the impact of it on the stability of the ship. See, every ship when she is loaded will be just maintaining the minimum requirements of stability and little more, agree, little more, because depending on type of ship and all. But what happens if there is a fire? You don't want flooding to occur, so you have got bilge pumping also at same time, so the water is not accumulated to create free surface effect. There will be some, but not that much, because that extra water you are putting it's sinking the ship further. So you continue with both. This is the quantity of water not less than 2/3 of quantity required to be dealt by the bilge pumps. Okay. Now this is passenger ship, but every ship has got a similar one. Then no cargo ship needs the total required capacity exceeding 180 cubic meters per hour. Like I remember this 180 well, because my ships had 180. But need not exceed, it says. You can have more than that, because two fire pumps used to be 90 and 90, so that makes it 180. But you can connect other pumps also as you like. Then the 25 cubic meters I mentioned, which will come under that emergency one. Okay. Now we come to fire hoses and nozzles. Fire hoses will be non-perishable material, rubber lined, so that they don't leak out, canvas covered, or today you have got different materials available, different synthetic material which should not catch fire just like this, and they should go through normal flame test and all. Now each one will have coupling. Now you get two types of couplings, remember this. One is male and female types, other one is universal type, that means both ends can go any side. So you get two types, and again it depends on the ship what type they have got. Fire hoses, now always remember everything. Everything has to be approved. You cannot just bring up one and say that ye theek hai, nahi. Everything will be approved. The length of fire hoses, machinery space 15 meters. The reason is there can be too many kinks because obstructions are there. Machinery space is not open space like deck or something. 20 meters in open spaces, open decks, fine, and 25 meters on ships with a maximum breadth exceeding 30 meters. Otherwise, it would have been 20 meters. If your ship is less than 30 meters, you can have 20 meters on deck and 15 meters in machinery space. Now, this is the maximum, but least is 10 meters. Minimum is 10 meters and maximum is 15, 20, 25. This means your fire hoses on ship should have some sort of a coding. So after the fire drill or something, you don't mix them up. That is why normally around the couplings we use color codes. If it is cream color, that means yes, it is from engine room. It's blue means it is from accommodation, and some other color says that okay, it is from here. Normally accommodation fire hoses which are inside the accommodation are thinner ones, 40 millimeter size. Otherwise they are 65 millimeters. Now, if you are providing one hose, one nozzle for each hydrant, if you are providing that, then the restrictions on couplings and all changes. But otherwise, complete interchangeability of hose couplings and nozzles is required, and all the ships have it, because obviously you have got too many fire hydrants, so you can't provide one hose and a nozzle for each and every one. So you always have, means on the ship, unless you are talking of two different sizes, 40 millimeters, 65 millimeters, you should be able to connect any hose anywhere. Number is decided by the classification society, how many, but they will be calculating and putting it. Now, here cargo ships, every 30 meters of length you have a hose and one spare, but again these numbers will be actually controlled by the your certificate. Certificate tells you how many hoses are required. So according to length, you say my ship is 300 meters long, so that means how many? 10 hoses. Anyway, coming back to this, the regulation 19 adds up some extra hoses, 3 hoses nozzle. Now regulation 19 is there for ships carrying dangerous goods. Ships are certified under regulation 19 that they are permitted to carry hazardous goods. So that is a separate certificate which you will go through when you study the hazardous code in cargo work. So that time you will see that this certificate is required. This is one of the questions. You will get it in some sort of interview. You know, hazardous goods and all. If you mention regulation 19 of SOLAS and all says this, that certification will be done and all. Very good. It's smart answer then. That yes, guy knows regulation 19 applies to dangerous goods. And there is a list given. Hazardous goods are also defined. There is a list with UN number. They call it UN number. Every hazardous stuff is identified with that number, and this UN number you will even notice on these road tankers and all. You will find one UN number is there. Of course, the road tankers put a lot of bullshits around, but it is there. Nozzle sizes 12 millimeters, 16 millimeters, and 19 millimeters, plus minus little bit here and there. Accommodation, you need not use more than 12 millimeters, because what happens, generally use the smaller hoses also. So remember one thing, nozzles have got nozzle sizes, the tip sizes have got nothing to do with the size of the hose. 65 millimeter also can have 12 millimeter nozzle, or 40 millimeter also can have 12 millimeter nozzle. Machinery space, nozzles to maximum discharge possible from 2 jets mentioned up. So, but they have restricted it that 12, 16, 19 need not be more than 19, because what happens, very often you have to supply maximum water for cooling purpose. Now, nozzle shall be of an approved dual purpose type incorporating a shutoff. Now this is the important part that says in simple language that every nozzle what you are using should have this arrangement. It is not that I have got only jet ones and that is अरे उधर से लेके आ जाओ spray. No. Once upon a time this used to be the case. When I was youngster of your age, we had this situation that spray nozzles were different, and so are connect spray nozzle and go. Not anymore. It was stopped long back when I was selling only. That every nozzle is combination and with a shut off. That is important. So this line is very important for you, even though I have not highlighted it. Fire extinguishers, you have got a full book there, right? Given by our lab. Only important things we will go through. I am not going to go through every small detail. One portable fire extinguisher shall be placed near the entrance of that space. Now it may be inside or outside, because again you remember the extinguishers are never put in open space like exposed to the weather. So it will be generally accommodation ones will be just at the entrance from outside doors, from outside the accommodation when you enter from decks. So it will be just within a meter, it will be there. So you open the door, you will have. Then carbon dioxide extinguishers are not placed in accommodation spaces because of toxicity, except in galley. Galley has got arrangement where we use this. Another important part, spare charges must be approved type. Then for first 100% for first 10 extinguishers, 50 for remaining. Now this condition, spare charges must be there at the time of departure from any port. Not that every 3 months and 6 months, no, from any port. Now what happens is you have a different type of extinguishers, so it will depend on how much your ship is required to carry. But if you use up some, you have to ensure you procure them in the next port. All these conditions are true when you are departing from the port. Once you go to sea, you don't have a control over it, because you have to use. Instructions for recharging are carried on board. Then otherwise how will you recharge? Instructions are always given to you. You don't have to worry that remembering everything. And the ones which you cannot recharge on the ship, generally those ones are dry powder and CO2. In that case, one spare one should be in the store. Now I had this surprise once with a third mate. One new third mate joined and he told me, "Sir, we have got more fire extinguishers lying in the store." Means he was trying to impress that he is smarter than the previous guy, without realizing that you have to have CO2 extinguishers there. Why? Because we had CO2 extinguishers. So the spare is the another extinguisher. And dry powder, some types of dry powders you can refill on board, some types you cannot. So based on that, whatever you can refill on board, you have got spare charges. What you cannot refill on board, you have got extra extinguisher. Now we have come to fixed firefighting as well as we have come to 5 o'clock. So we stop here. And one important thing is, please don't believe in any rumors. If you will get, just stay relaxed. You will get enough notice for your exams, and you all will do well. You all are quite smart guys. Only thing, don't take leave from your studies, because a lot of you are in green zones now. Some of you may be allowed to move around a lot more now where restrictions are coming down. So I understand that there will be euphoria and all. चलो ये करेंगे, थोड़ा वो करेंगे. All these things will happen, but don't take leave of absence from the studies. Do something. थोड़ा बहुत चालू रखो, because one way or the other we are finished in this semester and about to start next one. So this one has to be somewhere here. Okay, good enough. So I close the meeting. Okay, 1 minute. किधर गया, भाग गया देखो कितना